Welcome back, everybody. We're about to do part 6 of the If the War Came series. This one is called Total Defense. Thank you, real quick, to Thomas for translating this so that I could be able to watch it. It's been a whole couple of weeks, I think, since I've done the last episode, so I'm glad that I'm able to do this next one. I've also gotten a couple of recommendations for the secret base videos. And before I get started, the Swedish government group that put together those videos actually commented on the last video. I went to look at their website. They do essentially stuff surrounding historical sites, like upkeep of historical sites and public land and stuff like that, which I think is really awesome. You all know, obviously, I'm a big history nerd. I love being able to see old places, walk in these areas that are like so shrouded historically that you get almost this like super weird feeling walking through it. And in fact, I'm going this weekend down to walk the USS Lexington down at the coast of Corpus Christi, a U.S. aircraft carrier that was put together, I believe, at the tail end of World War II. But I really liked the video. I was appreciative to them for reaching out. And after looking at their website, I like the stuff that they do. So I'll put a link to their website in the description box down below if anybody else wants to check it out. But I feel like it's a pretty cool thing. With all that being said, let's jump into it. If the War Came, episode 6.
Det här är en omöjlig historia att berätta. För vad skulle egentligen hänt om kriget kom? I vår fiktiva historia rasar nu kriget på svensk mark. Armén är mobiliserad och utspridd över landet. Bomberna faller över städerna och skapar kaos och panik. Radio och tv har slocknat. Eller fanns det en plan för att rädda civilbefolkningen i händelse av krig? Eller var de dömda att gå under? Att civilbefolkningen alltid drabbas hårdast i krig är en mycket gammal sanning. Sann likväl under 30-åriga kriget och likväl sann under andra världskriget, vars erfarenheter och minnen låg närmst till hands när det så kallade civilförsvaret byggdes upp under kalla kriget.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about before, even with regards to places like Spain under Napoleon. It's one of those things where civilians are in a bad spot even if they're not specifically being targeted. However, places that an invader might be able to get a foothold, they can push the civilian population into the arms of a resistance group by like their level of harshness, if that makes sense. We see these cases historically where like it's sort of a fine line between if you don't punish anything, or you completely allow things to go as they were before you were there as an invader or an occupier, then the resistance kind of has free reign to mess up whatever they want. But on the other end of that, if you're too harsh with those reprisals, then you will push almost every civilian into the resistance. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things where really, no matter the situation at all, it's a really rough place for the civilian population to be. And World War II was the war where you started having this thought process be like totally indoctrinated into, say, bomber pilots who, golly, there's one, I think it was a German pilot, and he's writing to his mother. I can't remember the exact specifics, but there's a real example that I've read or come across at some point of him basically trying to explain to his mom that the home front is the war. That is who drives the war. Nobody, I'm not getting shot at with an AA gun. There are not men being shot on the front with rifles, if not for the home front making these things for the war effort. And so they are as much as a part of the war as the soldier at the front is, which is, I don't know if I can totally wrap my head around that logic, but I certainly understand how somebody gets there. That the civilian population really is the driving force, because in reality they are the driving force. But does that make them free game? I don't know. I have a hard time getting to that point in my head, but you all let me know what you think. And real quick, sorry if I sound congested. I worked a lot today and it was super windy, and so my sinuses are crazy.
Information är livsavgörande i en kris- och krigssituation. För att under kalla kriget förbereda civilbefolkningen på det man trodde skulle komma gav man ut skriften Om kriget kommer. Och i telefonkatalogen och i många trappuppgångar fanns utrymningsplaner i händelse av att man var tvungen att evakuera städerna. Och det gjordes förberedande informationsfilmer till befolkningen som visade hur de skulle agera om undergången närmade sig.
Yeah, I've put pictures in prior videos. I've actually read through one of those things. If it wasn't official, it was one of the ones. But somebody sent it to me in a comment that basically had all of that information of what certain people were supposed to do, what the thought process was. And it even had the thing in there about, the no surrender thing. I can't remember exactly what it said, but basically, if you hear anything in terms of surrender, it's propaganda, it's false, like, that's not our game.
Det är detsamma som står i den svenska broschyren Om kriget kommer. Läs dem och kom till mig om ni behöver fråga något.
I vår berättelse har nu allvaret gått upp för allmänheten.
Här har jag ett viktigt meddelande.
TV och radio fungerar fortfarande hjälpligt tack vare reservsändningssystemet.
Regeringen och riksdagens krigsdelegation har lämnat Stockholm.
Paniken sprider sig nu långsamt inför vad som komma skall.
Do the political leaders move to somewhere else in the country, like a secure location in country, or do they outright just leave, get out of the country, and then basically work from exile? It's been done in more modern recent history. It's been done differently by different groups. So I'm just curious.
Det var många som hade en roll i totalförsvaret. Det var en lagstadgad plikt. Till och med din bil kunde bli krigsplacerad. Och det gällde även dig som individ om du ansågs ha ett viktigt civilt jobb som var ett måste i händelse av krig. Att företag som Saab och Ericsson skulle fortsätta att tillverka flygplan och kommunikationsutrustning är självklart. Sjukvårdspersonal och Bofors som vapenfabrik likaså. Men även bilmekaniker med egen verkstad, reklambyråanställda och till och med dagmammor kunde krigsplaceras.
Yeah, I had somebody reach out in a comment and say that their like placement was, I believe, a childcare worker in this concept, which before that, I didn't even know that existed as part of this system. I guess I expected it to be mostly military, rail, and just general infrastructure and things of that nature, but all the way down to childcare, that was very interesting for me to learn.
Man hade bilderna från andra världskriget med sig färskt i minnet. Har man sett hur Berlin såg ut vid krigsslutet är det lätt att hålla sig för skratt. Planen blev att skydda allt viktigt i berg och den stora nedgrävningen börjar på 50-talet. Försvaret bygger allt från små skyddsvärn till enorma anläggningar i bergrum. Och industrin äter sig ner i graniten och bygger till och med världsunika bergsfabriker.
Did not realize that factories were a part of that. Obviously, we're doing the videos or the series over the bases that were hidden, but I did not realize that factories were included in that at all.
För civilbefolkningen byggs skyddsrum överallt, i alla källare. Det är till och med någonting som staten ger ekonomiska bidrag till.
Vi ska bygga skyddsrum på särskilt utsatta platser och i särskilt utsatta orter.
Totalt lär det minst byggts 60 000 skyddsrum under 1900-talet.
These were done here too. You had shelters for bombing, shelters for nukes. There's a school up in New Mexico, which is not, a couple hour drive from here. There's a school up there, like a primary school, a grade school, that had a big bunker that was built underneath it. These were common here, but they were for taking cover in. That was the thought process. They weren't being built, at least as far as I know, they weren't being built. Now, obviously, we have military installations and stuff, even to this day, that are done underground. But I don't know if factories and things of that nature that were done that way.
Vägarna var blockerade. Gick inte att komma igenom.
mycket svåra förluster.
That prick.
När de förgäves har försökt att slå ut fiendens brohuvuden och hejda hans framryckning.
Kanske det mest fascinerande, det är de riktigt stora befolkningsskyddsrummen som byggdes i bland annat Stockholm. De hade plats för 10-tusentals personer och låg mitt inne i stan. Det sägs att Churchill en gång frågade vår statsledning vilket krig vi egentligen förberedde oss på, svenskarna som grävde ner sig precis överallt. I fredstid fungerade skyddsrummen i hyreshusen som förråd och de största mitt i Stockholm kunde användas som parkeringsgarage. De stora, tunga portarna skulle stänga ute eldstormarna, explosionerna och kriget. Och hann man inte in blev man kvar ute i infernot. Fortfarande, än idag, finns spåren efter kalla kriget kvar där du minst anade.
I'm sure there's stuff everywhere. I mean, I can't imagine that all of this stuff is just gone. And obviously we know it's not all gone with the video that we watched the other day. Like, there are still places there. But I would imagine that things that are left that resonate from the Cold War are still all over the place. What? Y'all have stuff that's left over from like 400 years before the U.S. existed. We're talking about something that was, 50 years ago.
Därför att vi har så bra berggrund så valde vi att på flera olika områden helt enkelt spränga in verksamheter in i berg. Dels gällde det ledningsplatser för både militär och civil verksamhet som skulle då skyddas in i bergrum. Och de skulle göras så säkra så att de till och med motstod atomsprängningar. Vi var nog bland de bättre i världen på detta.
Märkligt nog så blev vi ett av världens mest skyddsrumstäta länder. Vi som inte ens hade varit i närheten av andra världskrigets fasor till skillnad från våra geografiska grannar. Men trots det så grävde vi ner oss mest av alla.
Yeah, but part of that could be because not being involved in World War II. You have a different sort of perspective whenever you're not immediately up close involved in something. And a lot of the countries post-World War II are really reeling. They're trying to get their footing when World War II ends. And this is why I say that I don't hold it against Swedish leaders. I hear a lot of the talk of Swedish helping like the Germans during World War II. And I've said before on the channel, they're trying to keep the country's head above water. And had another major conflict broke out for the Cold War, which very, very easily could have happened, they're positioned better than most of their neighbors are, if not all of their neighbors, because of the position they were in post-war. And so when you look at how that could have dominoed, it could have been a very situation that we were looking back on. And it would have been a lot harder to judge the Swedish leaders for not being involved in World War II if the Cold War turned hot and they were more prepared for it because they hadn't been involved.
Anläggarskydd omedelbart.
Men var skulle då det civila försvaret ledas ifrån? Ute i skogen, djupt ner i bergen, låg många av de civila ledningscentralerna. Just ifrån den här ledningscentral typ A Grävlingen skulle en stor del av landets civilförsvar styras. Det är hit information nu kommer om att massiva bombningar dödat kvinnor och barn, att hyreshus brinner och att stora delar av staden är nervgassmittad. Anläggningen är tekniskt sett något av det mest avancerade som byggts i landet. Skydd mot bomber, skydd mot gas, skydd mot elektromagnetisk puls, eget vatten, egen värme, egen elektricitet. Den 28 september 1983 hölls civilförsvarsövningen Ostkust i berget. Och man kan bara försöka sätta sig in i hur det då kändes. Knappt 2 år tidigare hade U-137 gått på grund i Karlskrona skärgård och spänningen i landet hade trissats upp på riktigt. Det tillsammans med de andra händelserna där i början av 80-talet gjorde kanske att kriget faktiskt här kändes nära.
Have any of these places been publicly, how do I say this? Have they been publicly, not reinvented, but have they, you know, because they closed down, I don't know if they destroy a lot of them or how they do that, but have they opened any of these facilities back up publicly for military use or the civilian side of a conflict because of the geopolitical situation in the world right now?
Ovan jord rasar nu det storskaliga kriget. Massinvasionen, det man förberett sig på sedan andra världskriget, är över oss. Sverige är avskuret, inga transporter, inga varor, inga förnödenheter når längre befolkningen.
Från Radio Uppland. Vi har nåtts av färska, alarmerande rapporter om att det svenska flygvapnet och armésstyrkorna har lidit mycket svåra förluster.
Vad som har hänt här ute i Rosersberg?
Om det här fortsätter kommer landet att gå under. I vår fiktiva berättelse så är nu det civila samhället helt sönderslaget och skulle ledas ifrån platser lik den här. Och här skulle till exempel också Sveriges Radio kunna sända ifrån. Men det få känner till, det var att det fanns ett helt reservsamhälle. Och om nu vår historia hade varit sann så hade det verkligen startats upp på riktigt. Och det här systemet, det innefattade allt från årsförbrukningar av olja till huvudvärkstabletter.
What in the hell? Where? I guess we'll see. Hopefully we see. How in the world would you just move the civilian population and have everything you need to continue to survive? Where the hell would you put them? That was not expected. I thought that was going to be where you took them, was to like a place like that. So the fact that they're going to get them out of those places, where are they taking them? Anyway, that was a great episode. Part 6, If the War Came. I will be out of town for the next couple of days. Like I said, I'm going to walk that carrier. Going to look at a couple of old Spanish missions and some stuff like that. But I may put out some videos while I'm gone. I've got a few recorded that I haven't put out yet. But we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Help me keep building the channel over here. And I will see you all next time.